Okay, welcome back. This is JJ Sports Center. Well, we actually have a special guest today from the East Tennessee Fantasy Football League. He's the commissioner. This is Luke Johnson. Luke Johnson.
Good job.
How are you doing today, Luke?
It's good to be here. Good to be here.
Good to have you. Good to have you. So, tell me a little about this East Tennessee Football League.
Well, we were founded last year. I actually won the league. I was owner of El Palco Loco, and I came in first place. I was in first place the entire season, and I finished in first place, and it felt good. You know, we got a trophy, and I won the prestigious East Tennessee Fantasy Football Championship trophy.
Okay.
Felt good. Felt good.
That's good. That's good. So, I have heard personally that there's been a big expansion. Had 10 teams last year. You've moved up to 12. What can we expect from this?
It's really gonna hurt. Draft. It's gonna be harder to draft, which is what's happening today. Is draft selection. We are drawing who gets what pick. That is what is happening, and it's going to be harder with 12 teams. When we had 10, it was easier. Everybody had about 4 or 5 superstars in their teams. Now, that's going to be cut down to 3. So you're really going to have to do your scouting. You're going to have to look into it more. And it's going to be a little more difficult, a little more tedious. But I think overall, it's going to make the league a little healthier. It's always good to expand. It's healthy to expand.
Hold on. Well, right now, live coverage right now in the draft lobby for the East Tennessee Fantasy Football League. So let's go live with Joanna Catana down in the draft lobby. Joanna.
First pick. Jacksonville Jaguars.
Well, honestly, Luke, I did not see that one coming. The Jacksonville Jaguars have gotten the first pick in the draft.
This is a big pick, and I was really hoping I could get it. You always want number one. The team's owned by Matt Lipsius. He was a personal rival of mine.
He has been in the league for a while.
He has. He was in the league last year. He finished about 8-8. I think he had a mediocre season, but he did make the playoffs, as everybody did last year. Everybody made the playoffs, but it's a big pick. Who's he going to take first? Is he going to take Adrian Peterson, or is he going to take a quarterback? You want to take a good running back, good wide receiver. It's hard to turn down the number one pick of the draft.
I mean, honestly, I think if he can capitalize on this pick, he could easily end up in the final
If you get number one, you should win 6 games regardless.
That is very true, very true. Well, hold on. We're ready for draft pick number 2. Let's go back to Joanna. Joanna.
Second pick. I'm a man. I'm a Forte.
Wow, another exciting pick. Pick number 2. I'm a man. I'm Forte. Now, this is a rookie. This is a first time in the season, brand new team.
Yeah, Josiah, he's new into the league. He did fantasy basketball with us last season, but football, it's his first time doing it. I think it's a little too much for him to take number 2. Number 2 is almost as good as number 1. I mean, as you can see, it's number 2.
Yeah.
But it's just, for a rookie to have the number 2 pick, it's going to be tough. I feel like he should have dropped down to watch the vets, see how we drafted, so he could learn something.
If he capitalizes on this, he could come out thinking he is better than he actually is.
Yes, and that's probably what's going to happen.
I've heard a lot of rumors that this is a very cocky coach, so I'm interested to see what happens throughout this season.
Yeah, Josiah, good luck with that pick. Good luck.
Hold on. Okay, back to Joanna for draft pick number 3.
Third pick. Marshawn Lynch Mob.
And we're back, but wow, another exciting pick. Pick number 3. We had a rookie for number 2, a rookie for number 3, Marshawn Lynch Mob.
What's funny is he's a rookie, and Josiah and Nate, both the owners of those 2 teams, 2 and 3, were the 2 expansion teams. We were set at 10, then we expanded to 2 late before about a week ago, and it's funny they get 2 and 3. It's 3's. It's also stressful. Not quite as good as 2, not quite as good as one.
Yeah.
Everybody wants number one, and everybody wants number two. You can't have both. But good luck with that, Nate. You have a tough season ahead of you. You got a lot of really good people in the league, and I think he's not going to walk out with the championship trophy.
Well, I could say that I've seen a couple ways he runs his practice. He runs some pretty good stern practices.
And Nate, he's a good talker. He can motivate a team, which is what you really want in fantasy football. You want to be able to motivate your team, get them to play well for you on Sundays and possibly Thursdays, on occasionally Mondays.
If he does make it to the final pick, that motivation could play a very big card in winning.
Especially towards the end of the season.
Hold on. Draft pick number 4. Got number 4 coming in, Joanna.
4th pick. Joe Flacco on Monty's Balls.
And we're back. We just had our fourth pick of Joe Flacco on my balls. Look, you're the coach of this team.
I am, and Jeb, sorry, I got to correct you here. The team name is actually Joe Flacco on Monte's Balls.
Monte's Balls.
Yeah,
I'm
but
sorry,
it was close. I'm real excited to have 4th pick. That's a good pick. You really can't ask for better unless you want number 1, 2, or 3. But
Yeah.
you can't have 1, 2, and 3, and 4.
Yeah.
So I'll take 4.
Yeah.
I'm hoping there's some good running backs left. That early in the draft, I can take a good running back, or maybe even Peyton Manning. Peyton Manning might be left.
Yep. You could get lucky with those 2 rookies as 2 and 3. They could miss a key player.
They could draft a kicker.
They could draft a kicker. I know.
first round.
I have made that mistake many times.
Yeah, I did that my
But-
first time ever playing fantasy football too. So we'll see. They might play favorites and pick a kicker like Rob Baronis. It's a good first round pick.
Very good first round pick.
Yeah.
Well, okay. Ready for draft pick number 5? We're going back down to the drafting lobby. Joanna.
5th pick. Hernandez Pistol Offense.
And we're back, but after draft pick number 5, so many great picks already. And it looks like we've got Hernandez Pistol Offense. Tell me a little about them.
Yeah, it's Taylor Trent's team. He's one of my roommates, good friend of mine, and he was in the league last year. He's a vet. It's about time we get back on the vet, bandwagon here. We had enough rookies thrown in there, Nate and Josiah, and 5 is a good pick. You're middle of the pack. The way this draft is set up, it's snake, so he'll be right there in the middle consistently every 12 times, be in there. So it's not like he's got a long wait time between players.
And I know that Taylor has been known to run a killer offense.
Yeah, he does. Hernandez Pistol Offense's team, they do have a real killer offense, almost murdering. They murder teams.
I have heard they murder teams. They just slaughter them.
Yeah.
Drive-by style.
And with that pick, you should keep murdering.
Definitely. Well, we're ready for draft pick number 6, folks. We're going back down to the draft lobby to Joanna. Joanna.
6th pick. Martellus A Bedtime Story.
And we're back. Just had draft pick number 6. Another shocking pick. I honestly have never seen this coming. Never seen any of these picks coming because honestly they're all random.
Yeah, they are random.
They are random. So we have Martellus A Bedtime Story. Tell me a little about this team.
Well, I'll tell you a bedtime story right here. Vince, he's going to finish last in the league. Ex-roommate of mine, he just doesn't have what it takes. He's going to win the coveted, the Larry Darden Gnome. And a lot of people don't know what that is, and I'll take a great time to tell about it right now. Larry Darden, I stole a gnome from Lips, and I glued it, I mounted it. It's golden, and has a picture of Larry Darden on it. Last place trophy, going to you, Vince. You're going to win it, because you're coming in last.
See, I just find that very great. You finish first, you get a trophy. You
Right.
finish last, you get a trophy.
And
it's a win-win situation. And he is I'd say key player, but he is pretty far away, so he's not going to be into your strategies.
Yeah, he's mid-pack, dead even 6, and if I was going to come in last in the league, which I'm not,
Of course.
but who else would I want to cope with other than Larry Darden?
Definitely.
Yeah.
What? Hold on. Well, we're ready for draft pick number 7. Joanna in the draft lobby. Joanna.
7th pick. Palk fried Ray Rice.
And we're back. 7th pick. Was that 8th pick?
It was 7.
Okay,
We're on
it
7.
was 7. Luke, I do this a lot. Do this for a lot of teams. You got to forgive me on that one.
It's okay. Man, I
But
understand.
pork fried Ray Rice. Wow, big team. I've heard a lot of great things about this team. I heard they run strong defense, strong offense. Kicking is a little weak, but hey, you can take what you got. Tell me, what's your opinions, Luke?
Well, I'm going to go ahead and just talk about the owner of the team. His name's Forrest Catron. He always has a strong draft. He just did his first fantasy league with us. He was actually in the league last year.
So he is a
And-
veteran to the league.
Yes, but he didn't check his team.
Oh, that is a key
Yes.
part of this
And
league.
then he was in the baseball this past baseball fantasy season. Had a strong draft, strong start. He hasn't checked his team since the first week.
You know, I run into a lot of coaches. You know, they come to me and say, Jim, you played football, played college football for a couple of years, went to the NFL for a couple of years. Give me some advice. My team's lacking. You know, I look at them and say, you know what? You got to coach your team. You got to be there for your team. And they weren't there for their team. And it shows when it gets to the end of the season. It even shows at the beginning of the season. You know, they think they're doing good. They get the first few games, but after that, you got to be there for your team.
All-stars can't win you the game alone. You got to coach them up
You got to coach them up. You got to
coach
build
them
them up. I think that's going to be a key part if he can pick a good team.
if he can pick a good team.
And if he can coach that team, he could definitely be.
He can go deep into the playoffs.
He can go deep into the playoffs.
Goes
So
deep into
it's
the playoffs.
wild card factor right here. Wild card factor.
Right.
Well, we're ready for draft pick number 8. Joanna.
8th pick. Quad penis dot fart.
We're back. Draft pick 8 just happened. Clown penis dot fart was just picked. Rookie, he has fallen to the spot at number 8. This could be a hard spot as a rookie to be coming in. Luke, tell me a little more about this team.
Yeah, it's owned by Chris. I think he's done plenty of fantasy. He's one of the older people in the league. So I think he's done plenty of fantasy leagues. He's got some fantasy experience under his belt. He's just, joining new with us, and hopefully we can keep him around. We want to find people who are consistently going to be there every season, day in and day out to play with us. And I think Chris, with his experience, he could do well. He could do well.
Well, that's good. That's good. And I know, this may sound like college football, with the different conferences, but this
Right.
isn't. But switching conferences on us here.
It's almost like conference realignment. It is. We're expanding. We want to stay competitive with other fantasy leagues, and that's why we expanded to 12. And Chris was a great addition. He's a great addition.
I think this is another great wild card. Plus, having a brother as a coach in the league, this could add for some competition.
And we actually have 2 brothers in the league, but we'll get to the other one. His name hasn't been drawn yet,
Oh.
so we'll get to that later.
Okay, well, we're ready for draft pick number 9. I got a buzzing in my ear here. Well, Joanna, draft pick lobby. Joanna, back to you.
9th pick. Dallas Meow Boys.
Oh, we're back. Sorry, sit on these sets for a while. You get used to things. Well, we just had a draft pick number 9, Dallas Meow Boys.
The team's owned by Daniel. He actually picked up a team last year who fell off and quit the league, but he took over that team. I think he started the season 1-8 before he took it up, and then he made it to the fantasy finals last year. So he's a great commissioner. He does well in every fantasy sport. He won the basketball league this season. He has the best team record-wise in fantasy baseball. And I think it's going to be interesting to see what he can do with football with a whole season on his hands. A lot of questions surround this guy. He's real good. You could call him maybe the Barack Obama, or the Jennifer Aniston, or the Anzabal Sanchez,
Yeah,
of
that-
fantasy.
yeah,
He's just
yeah.
that good. He knows what he's doing, and he has a recipe for success.
I personally would put my money on him with the last season of 1-8 and making it to the final playoffs. That's pretty impressive.
But Jeb, you got to remember something. There's a guy there in the finals to beat him, and that guy was me.
Already getting cocky here, but
Just
hey,
saying. Just saying.
you just gotta say.
You stay number one till you're proven otherwise.
So I mean, there could be some big competition trying to take you down this year. So I
It's
mean,
always a good rivalry when
Yeah.
we play each other.
Okay. Well, hold on. We're getting ready for pick number 2. Joanna's just.
Hang on, let me get it. To you, Joanna.
Well, I was gonna say Joanna's ready to draw it, but go ahead.
My bad.
10th pick. Team Frank.
We're back from pick number 10. Team Frank. Team Frank. Wow. 10th place, not last, but that's pretty on up there.
Yeah, and he is the last rookie we have right now in the draft, and for him to get 10, it's a tough draw as a rookie, especially for someone who forgot to name his team. But not
I tell
not against you, Kevin.
I tell
Stay
coaches,
classy.
they coach me all the time. I tell them, you got to be there for your team. And the other thing I tell you got to name your team. Your team has to be named. It's their fire call, that gets them going. You got to name your team.
But it could be ballsy. That way his players know who they're playing for. Team Frank. It's just Team Frank's
It's
team.
it's up
It's
there.
not your
Team Frank's team.
Yeah, it's not your team. A little advice for Kevin having the 10th pick. That means he'll have the 3rd pick in the 2nd round of the draft. So he'll have back-to-back. So be on your toes. You might get some good picks in there. Good wide receivers here at the end.
He's got to be careful though, because he might get nervous. None of those kickers are going to be picked. He's going to see that long list of kickers. He could just grab one.
You got to remember, it's still the 1st round, Kevin. Don't take a kicker.
Don't take a kicker.
Rob
Many of
Morales
us,
looks good, but don't take a
many
kicker.
of us make that mistake, but do not take the kicker. You take the punter.
And watch out for free agents. They're not a part of teams.
No, they're not. Okay, well, we're getting ready for pick number 11. Luke, I'll let you throw this one down to Joanna.
Miss Ganada, to you.
11th pick. Team Subterraneans.
No, Todd to go pods, Mom. No, Mom. Come on, get the puree. Luke, I'm extremely sorry.
It's okay,
Here,
man. I understand you're busy. It's just an honor to be here.
it's just, we're glad to have you, definitely. Well, we just, but we just got back from pick number 11. Man, another fireball pick. Team Subterraneans. Luke, tell me a little bit about this team.
Yeah, and this is actually the 2nd set of brothers. We got 2 brothers. We got Vince and Chris, and Forrest and Ted. Ted's the older brother, him and Forrest. He's the more fantasy-oriented. He knows more about fantasy sports. He has great rookie pickups. He knows how to. He actually took over a team last season too when somebody quit. He actually took over Team Bivens, which is a huge league controversy.
Yeah.
Because she actually beat Lips and knocked him down from the playoff spot. He
Wow.
made the playoffs, but it was a hard loss. He lost some good seeding.
Yeah.
Because he lost to her by a kicker that maybe somebody picked up. But Ted, he's a good owner. He's going to get a lot of things. I think with the 11th pick, he can utilize that with strategy, with having the 2nd pick in the 2nd round. He can get some good players there, some good young players.
Look, me being an ex-NFL player, I have a lot of people come up to me and ask how to coach their team. And I tell them 3 things, Luke. 1, you got to be there for your team. 2, you got to name your team. And 3, don't fight with your brother. We got 2 sets of brothers on here. They don't spend all your time fighting with each other. There's a whole league here. You can take them down, but leave it at that.
Well, yeah, and with Forrest and Ted, there's one brother that reminds me of. And no, it's not the Harbaugh brothers. It's the Wright brothers. They might fight like the Wright brothers did, but eventually they're going to take off.
It may only be for 13 seconds.
It might just be for 13 seconds, but
by God, they're going to take off.
they're going to take off. They're going to take off.
Well, Joanna has her hand in that bowl getting ready to draw. Joanna, to you.
And then 12th pick. Dookie of the Year.
was good.
And we're back. Last pick, Dookie of the Year.
Yeah, and I just want to go ahead and say, Joanna, you didn't actually have to read that pick, but it's okay because we all could have figured out who was left in the bowl.
Yeah.
But having last pick isn't always a bad thing, Torrin. Keep your head up. I don't know you personally, but I know you through all the fantasy sports that we play. But you got to keep your head up. That means you got first pick, second. You got 2 back-to-back picks. A lot of people would kill for that. They always say, if you're not first, you're last. So if you ain't the Jacksonville Jaguars, you're last, just like you, Torrin.
Well, Luke, me playing college football and being an NFL player for 9 years running, a lot of coaches
So
come
you
up to
played the
me.
league for 2.
It's been on and off, played for a lot of different teams, Luke.
Okay.
Leg injury blew me out.
Sorry.
But a lot of coaches come up to me and ask, Jeb, how can I coach my team? I tell them 4 things, Luke. 1, you got to be there for your team, 2, you got to name your team. 3, don't get into an argument with your brother. And 4, don't get into your roommate's brother's argument. Just because your roommate has a brother that's in the league, to get in an argument, sometimes that can pull you in. So you got to be really careful with that.
And the thing about Torrin is he reminds me of, one person out there in history. And no, it's not Abraham Lincoln.
I was thinking more of Darius Rucker.
Kind of Darius. But
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
He reminds me of Ashton.
Kutcher.
No, do you know who Ashton is? He's he was the Wright brothers' roommate. And he was there trying to put his input into their teams. And they were like, we know what we're doing. We're physicists. Like, we know how to fly.
If he is not careful, he could piss off both of them.
Mhm.
So then that's just a bigger rivalry for him.
So, Torrin, advice to you big guy, just focus on your own team.
Focus on your own team. Well, hey, I'd like to give a shout out to Luke. Thank you for coming on the show today.
Thank you for having me.
No
and
problem. Joanna, great down. She's live right now in the draft
Thank
lobby.
you, Joanna.
So stay tuned for the next episode here in about a half hour.